Hey everybody, it's Mike, Whiskey Alpha 9 Papa India Echo. I wanted to give a quick update on Ham Radio Deluxe version 6.9 beta testing and show you something really cool that's coming with version 6.9. I'm Mike, Whiskey Alpha 9 Papa India Echo with Ham Radio Deluxe. If you find this video useful, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and click the notification bell. Okay, this is our tracking system. So I'm going to give a little bit of an update on what's going on with version 6.9, and then I'll show you something cool. This is what's left in beta testing. So these are the open items. If you look up here, there are 31 open items. There are 11 resolved items, so for a total of 42. So that's what the beta team is testing through right now. So when this number goes to 0, we'll be good to go. So we've been in beta testing for probably about a month at this point. And, the beta testers are saying, hey, how come we're having to do so much work? First of all, I want to commend my beta testers. I've got probably a dozen beta testers. I'm not going to put their names in or anything or the call signs, but because I don't want people pounding them with questions. But they're doing a fantastic job. But there's a lot of work to do because we've redeveloped this application, and I think it's outstanding. So I'm going to show you a little bit about where that's going and some enhancements that we've made that really people have been asking for quite a while. This evening, it's about 10:15 here local time. Our developer, one of them, has been working with me tonight on some of the last items, which were among the 31 up here that frankly have been in the system since 2013, the first one. So there's basically a parent item related to how split is handled in logbook that goes back to 2013 and 19 others since then. But so we're working through those, and so we're making good progress. Nothing's happening as quickly as I'd love to have it happen, but that's the way it goes. It's going to be stellar when it's done, and so I want everybody to know how things are going. If I go over to the current dev list, which this is what will actually go out, in addition to the 42 items that you just saw, there are 427 items that have been resolved through the development and beta testing process. Now, some of these, to be honest, there were probably 100 to 120 items in the list when we started building version 6.9. So we accumulated some in the process, but then again, we rewrote the code. So it's these, a majority of these, or 2/3 of them probably, or 3/4 of them, were raised through the beta testing process. So that's kind of how we derived at that. So if I click down in these, I could see basically what these are and who reported them and things like that. But that's kind of where we're at on that. Pretty good shape. I can't predict when it's going to be done, and I would never attempt it because it only gets me in trouble. But that's where this is. So hopefully it won't be too much longer. Let me show you. This is 6.9. I wanted to show you something cool. So first of all, I don't have CQ zones up here in the display. So I'll just show you how I'm going to do this and demonstrate, because much of this you can do today. So I want to add CQ zones over here to the layout. One of the things that comes up every now and then is that people will say, hey Mike, how come it is that this particular country doesn't span multiple zones, and so it shouldn't be rocket science to fill in the zones with these values, given that Mozambique, for example, because that's what this one is, Mozambique doesn't span multiple zones, so why can't you just fill it in? So that's what's going to happen in version 6.9, and I'm going to show you how that could work. So you could have a whole log full of of entries, QSOs, that don't have a CQ or an ITU zone. And the way this is going to work is that there are a small number, like 6 to 8 countries, that span multiple CQ or ITU zones. So in keeping with our policy that we don't guess at the zones, if you just put in WA9PIE, if it doesn't find me in QRZ and doesn't come up with a valid zone or CQ zone or an ITU zone, it's just going to leave it blank, because it could be 3, 4, or 5 or whatever, and there's no point in trying to fill the database with invalid or estimated values. On the other hand, if it's Argentina, for example, we know that it's 13, CQ zone 13 and ITU zone 14, if I'm reading what's down here, by the way. So what you have when you go and put in a call sign in your log, I'm going to go here and call sign lookup. I'm just going to basically make sure that I don't have any enabled methods. I'm just going to leave them blank. So it's going to use the public unique call sign database, the private one, and the country list. Those are the 3 that are going to get searched. And I do that in this example because I don't want to go sending all these lookups to qrz.com. Frankly, it's not necessary. So I'm going to highlight them. So I got the top one. Well, let's do it this way. Let's filter for them. We know that the United States has multiple CQ zones. I don't work a lot of QSOs with people in the United States for whatever reason. Sorry, guys. And I want to find the DXCC numeric here. And I want to say does not contain, not equals, does not contain 291, which is the United States. So if I click this, I shouldn't see anything in here that's the United States. But I do see some here, several of them, that don't have a CQ or ITU zone. So what I did there was I clicked on the top one, clicked on the bottom one while holding down the tab key. And now I've highlighted these ones. And I'm going to right click, come down to lookup, bulk call sign lookup. And it asks me if I want to back up the database. I recommend that you do, but this is a test machine, so I'm going to say no, but just do it. And fill empty fields. So if I click fill empty fields, it's going to do some crunching and it comes back and it filled all of those fields, right? Isn't that fantastic? Because you may have a lot of QSOs in your log. For whatever reason, those zones ended up being empty because there was no source to fill them from. And now you've got an opportunity to fill them again. And that helps you with zone awards and so on. Now notice Brazil, it does not span multiple CQ zones, but it does span multiple ITU zones. So that one's left blank because we don't know for sure which one that is. But you can see it filled most of them. And obviously this also works when you're putting QSOs in the log. So if you happen to put one in the log that wasn't looked up on qrz.com or didn't match something, it would automatically fill the CQ and ITU zones as you put them in your log. So that's really cool. Hey, let me toss in a quick message. You need stuff, and we want to help you find it. Go to amazon.com/shop/Ham Radio Deluxe, and you can find everything from interfaces for your radios, ICOM gear, Yaesu gear, rotors, antennas, networking for home, labels that work with our program. You can find station PCs. I get this question all the time. You can get a really beefy computer for under $330 that comes with Windows 11. Find us on amazon.com/shop/Ham Radio Deluxe. Get the stuff you need. Now back to our video. There's a lot of neat stuff happening here. I mean, I've said this before, but I love the way that the lookup pane now shows your worked countries basically by, or your work status in a table rather than kind of the way it was before. It makes it really easy to know, almost like a leaderboard, whether or not you've worked it before. Plenty of cool stuff here, but I just want to make sure you saw one thing that's coming. But there are 400 things that are coming. So just look for the updates. we're working really hard to get through the rest of development. If you listen to the intro to this video in Morse code, there's a coupon code there. Works. I think it's, gets you some percentage off. I didn't listen to it, but do that. Your renewals will help us with the development costs. We've put a lot of money into the development, and we do need your renewals, so do that. But we're going to try to get this out to you as quickly as we can. We're not far off. Thanks. 73 from Mike, Whiskey Alpha 9, Papa India Echo.